The 9 Treys finally got to 6ix9ine while he was locked up. You don't want to miss this. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Because they did put out an article today, and it says here, confirmed 6ix9ine beat up in jail.
Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video.
The 9 Treys
led the 9 Trey Gangsters Bloods gang, and today we learned he will serve more than 3 life terms.
If you somehow don't know the name the 9 Treys, it's likely because you don't pay attention to the dark side of New York and other cities in the United States. They also go by many different names because of their fluidity. Here's the basic rundown of them. The 9 Treys, NTG, also referred to as Bentleys or billionaires, are a dangerous set of the United Blood Nation street crew, which is itself a set of the street crew. The group operates on the East Coast of the United States. So needless to say, they are a very bad group and they have been working in New York for some time. In fact, they're an offshoot of a group of Bloods from the East Coast and moved to New York to better expand their territory, not unlike what many other groups do when they're trying to obtain power. And power is most definitely the name of the game for this group, as they are practitioners of various illegal activities, many of which 6ix9ine is guilty of in one way or another, but I'll get to that later. The point is they've caused a lot of havoc in New York City and beyond, and so there are a lot of people who would love nothing more than to make them go away via multiple means. The problem that the people like the FBI faced is that this group, like many other crews around the country, follow the law of the streets, meaning that if you get caught, you take your punishment like a man or woman and take the time that was given to you.
I'm alright, I'm in good spirits, physically, mentally, you know what I mean? I'm strong, can't break, I don't bend, I don't fall.
Only then can true colors and loyalty be shown. So what does that mean? It means no one would snitch on the group, and thus the FBI and law enforcement were forced to try and get them in the act, and that can be very hard to do. Fast forward to the situation they're in right now, and they're learning the hard way that they really are as strong as their weakest link, and that weakest link is none other than 6ix9ine. The price of being in the group.
Plus an additional 40 years. That's the sentence handed down to Antonio Simmons, the ringleader of the 9 Trey Gangsters.
There are many things that can be said about a group like the 9 Treys, including the fact that the dismantling that has been done and is being done via 6ix9ine's testimonies against them and the FBI pursuing them with all that they have was an inevitable fate. And that's not me being dramatic. Many feel that groups like the 9 Treys are destined to fall. It's only a matter of time. And that time would appear to be right now because they're getting picked apart piece by piece. In fact, a recent update from the case is that the godfather of the group, Mel Murder, has been arrested and convicted of various crimes and is potentially going to be sentenced for 20 years in prison. Although music provided Jamel with a legitimate means of supporting himself, it also kept him in contact with elements of New York City's culture. It was this continued association with members that led to his conviction in this case, Mel Murder's lawyer Scott Lehman said. And when it comes to the prosecution in the case, they're not aiming to be lenient because they know exactly what Mel Murder's group has done. The public has an interest in incapacitating and deterring the defendant and others similarly situated from committing further acts of violence and from engaging in the distribution of illicit items, Jeffrey S. Berman explained. The defendant has served lengthy prison sentences, yet that has not stopped him from his continual membership and active role in the 9 Treys. Mel Murder is so desperate to get out of his situation that he wrote a massive letter to the judge in the case to ask for leniency so that he could see his children again and still have hope in raising them the right way. Here's a piece of that letter. I found myself as a very angry teenager because of the things I experienced and the things I saw at home behind closed doors. I took to the streets heavy at the age of 14. A lot of my friends suffered the same way I did, or worse, so we became each other's comfort blankets. The older guys in the neighborhood that embraced us were thugs off the corner, and they were involved in illegal activities. But at least they seemed to care about our well-being, or so we thought at the time. In reality, I can see now that they were really just molding us to become young criminals because they knew we really had nobody and were gullible young kids looking to fit in and find father figures. We looked at these guys for the love we were missing. That is when the United Blood Nation came into my life at 15 years of age. Between my anger and loyalty to the game, I made a lot of bad decisions, trying not to let the group down. By the time I was 18, going on 19 years old, my childhood sweetheart Dawn Gillespie gave birth to my beautiful daughter. That's when I realized I wanted more for myself, my child, and for my heart, but the streets still had a hold of me. I'm sure you can guess the rest of the letter, right? He's begging the judge to give him a lighter sentence, and you have to admit he does make an impassioned plea. He admits that what he did was wrong, and he wants to do better not just for himself, but for his children, to make sure that his prison sentence is not his legacy, and that he can do more for his family, for his kids, and for the community so that others don't end up like him. Should the judge let him go with a lighter sentence? I honestly don't know. Mel Murder could be telling the truth, or he could could just be playing a game to try and skate. It's honestly hard to tell these days. But one thing is for sure, Mel Murder isn't the only one suffering in jail. A lot of other 9 Treys are rotting away in jail because of the actions of 6ix9ine, and it's painting a darker and darker picture for the group as a whole, because the more of them that get locked up, the more that the group suffers. Just the pieces that were lost via the massive arrest of 6ix9ine and his various crew members was a big enough hit, and then subsequent arrests led to the taking of people like Mel Murder, as well as various other members of the group, and who knows what is going to happen in the upcoming weeks or months that could allow the 9 Treys to grow even thinner in the ranks. And when it's all said and done, no matter what happens next or who gets pinched, they can all blame one guy for their troubles: 6ix9ine. The 6ix9ine problem.
But to get off almost like he's getting off like he's the police. Like he is the police.
To say that the 6ix9ine situation is an ironic one would honestly be an understatement of the century, which I know is only 19 years in total so far, but hey, 19 years is a long time. Anyway, the biggest irony for this whole thing between 6ix9ine and the 9 Treys was that at one time these two were thick as thieves, which is an appropriate choice of words because the 9 Treys are thieves among other things. The point is, the rapper and the group were tight, and for a very basic and logical reason. He needed the 9 Treys to survive in the rap world, not in regards to protection, though that certainly did help at times, but rather 6ix9ine needed someone with influence to help him truly get through the door of the rap world. He had the music, if his music was your thing, but he didn't have the connections, the people to help him with the next step, etc. So, he made a deal with the 9 Treys. In exchange for their help, he would help them. Mainly, he would allow them to get a cut of his money every time he made a hit song, got a record deal, made the charts, etc. At one point during a testimony in court, he noted that he would give the leaders of the 9 Treys a couple $100,000. They would go and take their cut and then give the rest back to 6ix9ine, and he had no issue with that whatsoever. In that same testimony, he asked why exactly he aligned himself with the group. He talked about getting the fame, the money, the street cred, and more by joining them, and he happily admitted that he honestly got everything that he wanted and more. He may not have been the biggest name on the rap block, but he did have a name that people knew, and that same name was growing all the time. Just as ironic, 6ix9ine was supposed to go and release his first major album a few days after his arrest on November 2018. Some of that music got delayed and more have been unreleased. So imagine the payday both sides would have had if they had been able to release it before the FBI showed up. It kind of makes you wonder, where did it all go wrong?
Show, cause it's not me. I fired everybody I'm stupid who used to see me with, they no longer around. It's a stupid dub.
That's the question, isn't it? Where exactly did it all go wrong for both sides? What led the division within the ranks? What led to 6ix9ine breaking off from the group and full on snitching on the 9 Treys? Well, it was a multi-layered thing. So let's start with the beginning elements of it. While 6ix9ine was indeed a part of the 9 Treys, he wasn't exactly what you would call streetworthy. He talked a big game and he wouldn't stop talking. But when it came to the other factors that make a person streetworthy, he didn't exactly have them. Such as when his immediate 9 Treys crew got involved in an altercation. The others were holding their own, while 6ix9ine was really just flailing his arms around trying to get something in. The people who have seen it have described it as embarrassing. But the group tolerated it because 6ix9ine was one of their main sources of income. In fact, he was legal income in the ways that mattered, so they put up with him. Then, 6ix9ine started to grow too big for his own good. Mainly, he started foaming out to whoever would listen that he was a member of the 9 Treys, which he was, but you probably shouldn't blast that out in music that can be listened to by just about anyone. You know, that could cause all sorts of problems. Not to mention he was causing inner circle problems for the 9 Trey Bloods because of his antics. His constant arrests, his blabbing about things to various people, it started to get the group a bad look. And on the streets, a bad image is one thing you want to avoid. So the group tried to put the screws to 6ix9ine to try and get him back in line, which he himself didn't appreciate. So he fired his manager and other street crew members.
Austin, Texas, I fired everybody in my team. I got no manager, I got no booking agent, no PR, no public. I don't got nobody on my team.
All of whom were 9 Treys, because he thought he was bigger than them all. Not the smartest move, even though technically it was the one that likely saved his life, especially when another group came in to save the day at the cost of the 9 Trey Bloods, the FBI.
Just had word that Tekashi 6ix9ine pleaded guilty, striking up a deal with the feds.
You see, it turns out the FBI had been trying to get a break in the case involving a takedown of the 9 Trey Bloods. They just didn't have the piece needed to put the final nail in their coffin. Enter 6ix9ine, who blabbed at everyone he could that he was a part of the group, and so the FBI started to follow him, wiretapping his phones and collecting evidence on all the things he'd done over his time with the 9 Trey Bloods. This was a wise move, as 6ix9ine wasn't anywhere close to as cautious as the other members of the group, and so, with the evidence that they collected against 6ix9ine, they were able to arrest his whole street crew and manager, who partook in many acts that the FBI had gotten evidence on, and charged them with various crimes that would ensure jail time. But that wasn't enough. They needed that final nail, 6ix9ine. So they offered him a plea deal and promised to give him a lesser jail sentence if he agreed to rat out his street crew and give as much info as he could on the 9 Trey Bloods. 6ix9ine agreed to this wholeheartedly, and the fix was in. And with that fix came a very long, hard fall for the 9 Trey Bloods that continues to this day. The protection of 6ix9ine.
Now this does actually connect to TMZ, since they did put out an article today that 6ix9ine was transferred.
So when it comes right down to it, one of the things that the FBI needed to do in order to keep 6ix9ine safe from the 9 Trey Bloods after he agreed to testify against them kept him safe, right? After all, if something happens to him, he can't exactly testify, right? Ironically though, 6ix9ine was smart enough to know that the 9 Treys, among other groups, would likely come after him in prison. So he took his own precautions to try and keep himself safe, such as going to the judge and asking to be put into the non-violent offenders ward of the prison. This is ironic because 6ix9ine himself has been detained and even arrested for various acts, but I guess unlike other people in jail, he's not likely to cause trouble. So the judge granted him this request. Then when the plea deal came into effect, the FBI took extra special precautions to make sure that he could not be hurt by anyone from the group and beyond. You can call it paranoia, but there's no doubt that the case was a big deal to the FBI, and this was their best shot of taking down the 9 Treys, so they weren't going to risk anything happening to 6ix9ine before he could testify. And at the time of this video, 6ix9ine has lived up to his end of the bargain and then some. He's testified and basically sealed the deal in regards to putting away his street crew. And as far as the 9 Trey Bloods, they are under heavy fire from the FBI via the information that 6ix9ine gave them. So even if something happened to him now, which is unlikely, it wouldn't change what's on the court record. 6ix9ine's revenge on the 9 Trey Bloods.
That's right, people. 6ix9ine is snitching on his gang and he's going into witness protection.
It's ironic that 6ix9ine would want revenge on the group to basically help give him the life in the rap world. But as I noted earlier, the young rapper was already on the outs with the group before things turned in his favor via his arrest and plea deal arrangement. But since he is still in jail, how can he get revenge, right? It's all about context, mainly in that he is set to be sentenced on December 18th of 2019, which is ahead of the previously scheduled time. And there are rumors going around that he could well and truly be released because of the info he gave on the group and his former street crew. So what better revenge than getting to walk free with only 13 months or so of jail time, while the arrest of his former crew and many members of the 9 Trey Bloods are rotting in jail. But will the 9 Trey Bloods get revenge on 6ix9ine? That is honestly the question that many people want to know the answer to, because while 6ix9ine has helped put a lot of their members away, it wasn't enough to fully break the group. They're still out there, and they still want to get revenge on 6ix9ine for what he did. And ironically enough, with 6ix9ine potentially getting out in the world soon, they'll have their opportunity to try and get back at him. Just as ironic, the FBI offered 6ix9ine protection so that they could take down the rest of the 9 Trey Bloods without him fearing for his life, but he has refused the offer, citing that he wants to stay in New York so that he can continue his rap career, which is bold. The point is, if the 9 Trey Bloods want to get revenge on 6ix9ine, their time is coming soon. So all they would really need to do is just bide their time, wait for their moment, and see what happens. It may take a while, but they might just reach their end goals. What could happen? Now, the 9 Treys are one of the most dangerous gangs in all of New York, so you may be wondering, what can the 9 Treys really do to 6ix9ine in the sense of harming him? Well, as you all may know, the 9 Treys are a gang, and like all gangs, violence is almost an everyday thing for them. So doing violent things towards someone is really not that hard for them to actually do. That goes for mentally and physically. So 6ix9ine is in a lot of danger because of this. It doesn't matter how or when they do it, but the 9 Treys can easily catch 6ix9ine lacking and really do some serious damage to him that could potentially take 6ix9ine's life. Because of all of this, 6ix9ine denied witness protection and decided to hire a 24-hour security team. So this brings up a question to the table. Besides the security, what crew will 6ix9ine be rolling with after he gets out of prison, since he will need a crew besides his security? Well, to answer that question, it will most likely be 50 Cent, as 50 Cent has been supporting Tekashi 6ix9ine before and after he got locked up. I wouldn't doubt if we saw 50 and 6ix9ine stirring it up on Instagram as soon as he gets out, since previously they were both known for causing a lot of drama, and they are both masters in marketing and bringing attention to themselves. So after the $10 million deal 6ix9ine landed with this record label 10K, that means they are back in business and ready to start growing to get where 6ix9ine previously was, since this whole scandal will bring a lot of attention and revenue to Tekashi 6ix9ine, 50 Cent, and the record label 10K. And there you have it, a look at the 9 Trey Bloods and their beef with 6ix9ine. What do you think will become of 6ix9ine now that he has fully and completely betrayed them? Do you think he'll be able to live with them around, or will they be able to get their revenge on him? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe. Guys, it's your boy King Training, and I will see you next time on the next video.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.